Hello and welcome back to haying season. This is the first time I've gotten a chance to make a video this summer during haying season. Jeff has been doing a ton of the haying while I've been doing things like gardens and veggie baskets and harvest host and stuff, but I finally am able to be in the hayfield. Spent the last couple days helping. Jeff is currently back at the ranch doing harvest host things, and I am raking. This is what we call the L field and the wheat field. It actually used to be two separate fields, and over the years it's kind of just slowly been combined. Sagebrush has been mowed, and so now in total it's 131 acres. We are getting close to being done with this field. We have, oh gosh, I'm real bad at judging like how long it should take, but I mean, I would say there's at least at a very minimum 4 hours of raking. This field's real rough. It's kind of slow going. I'm raking, but it's, you know, like in the smooth parts you can go like 5.5 miles an hour. In the slow parts, like at one part I was down to like 3 miles an hour. I don't want things to break, and so we just go slower, and that's okay. Also, it's real hard on your body. So yeah, there's at least probably 4 or 5 hours of raking left. Baling doesn't take as long, usually takes about like half as much time as raking takes. And when I like switched with Jeff, I think there was like 3 windrows or so that he had completed, and then I did get like one. This field's like not square or anything. None of our fields are square. Well, I guess the next one, the 80 acres that we're gonna do, isn't horribly square or like off crooked. This one has got a lot of like weird little sections that are kind of like different shapes and stuff. So I've gotten some of those done and finished raking. So that's nice, but I still have, I'm gonna stick the camera out the door or the window or something so you can kind of see. It's real dusty. We did have, we were on the edge like of a thunderstorm here not that long ago. There's a grass fire, not like anywhere close to being a danger to the ranch or anything, but I can see the smoke. There was quite a bit of lightning that came through, so there's a couple wildfires that popped up south of town. That's real. Hopefully they get them under control soon. It's dry. We haven't had really any decent rain since like the 4th of July. So this field is dusty. You can tell behind me depending on like which direction I'm going and which way the wind is blowing. Like the windows are filthy at the end of the day. Like I sometimes have the windows open because I get cold with the air conditioning. You're just real dusty and dirty at the end of the day and kind of feel beat up, but that's all right. I also really have to like pay attention to what I'm doing because this field does kind of like meander a little bit and like has some weird, like I said, like weird little, they're almost like teardrops kind of, I don't know, some weird stuff that happens. I really do kind of have to pay attention. Lots of foxholes, lots of coyote holes, so that's always fun. So I need to be paying attention to what's going on behind me. I'm also catching windrows, so I'm able to do, like right now I've got a windrow behind me. And so I'm rolling it over, and then, so the rake's 30 feet wide, and so I'm really only catching about 15 feet of new grass in this pass, and so a windrow is taking about 45 feet to make a windrow. So I really have to pay attention to my right side so that I make sure that I'm catching this windrow. It's not perfect, that's for dang sure, but doing the best we can here. Some parts of this field are really good. Like right through here is real thick, so that's nice. Some of it's real thin. It's also not level. And so on the tops of the hills, it's real short and thin because the water just runs off of it. That's just what happens. And then down in the like the valleys and stuff, hold on, this spot's real bad. We're gonna slow down. In the low spots, it's really thick, which is nice. I think we're gonna get a decent amount of bales off of this field. It's not a great hay year. It's better than last year, which is nice. I need about 300 bales to get me through winter, and I'm not there yet. We are gonna cut some stuff that didn't get cut last year because it was just really poor last year, and it's better this year, so it's worth cutting, if that makes sense. So that at least is good. The 80 acres down on summer pasture, I'm on summer pasture right now. The 80 acres on summer pasture is probably the best I've seen it look in years, and that's partly because it has been cut for a long time. So that's gonna get cut next, and then head back home, and there's 156 acres next to the home pasture that also I didn't cut last year. We did winter graze it some. I fed the cows. Jeff and I both fed cows up in there some days of the week, like if the weather was decent, because it is a bit of a hike for them. So we'd feed them up into the hayfield, and they would kind of graze, but they're spoiled. They want bales. So I would do like minimal feeding, especially when they first came home in the fall. So like feed, if they were supposed to get a whole bale for the day, I'd give them half a bale, and then they'd go graze that field. So that is going to get cut this year. We'll see how many bales we get off of it. But at this point, if I even can get like a semi-load, which is, I believe, 20 some round bales, I'll take it. I think we'll get more than that, but I haven't like driven through the entirety of the field or anything. So yeah, 80 more acres down here on summer pasture to cut, and then 150, I believe. Is that what I said earlier? To do that field that's at home. So we got a ways to go still, but we're making progress, trying to keep a piece of equipment moving pretty much like all day long. It's pretty tough for both of us to be in the hayfield just because of Harvest Host and Farm Store and stuff. So that is one thing during haying season that is difficult. And then of course when I have the kids, I prioritize spending time with them and stuff too. So yeah, we're just chipping away at it and making progress. The equipment's running good, so that's nice. I have had a few minor problems, mostly tires. But right now, knock on wood, I don't have any wood, but knock on wood, everything goes well while we finish up. Okay, now I'm gonna start a new path. Okay, and let me get the camera out so you guys can kind of see what is happening. See that hole? I won't leave that windrow there so that the baler and Jeff doesn't fall in it. This windrow will get caught and moved over that direction. So that one was a doozy. I'm going to try and show what's left of this field. So like I said, some of it's been baled already. So fence line is beyond that bale over there. All the way, you can kind of see the edge up there, which that's already been baled. All of this spot needs to be raked still. There's the hill that I just came down. And this goes that direction quite a ways, this field does, but a lot of that is done. There is still some of it that's in windrows. And then just a little bit of a hill here. If I walk back up this direction, we can probably see how far back this field goes. You can kind of see the taller grass back there, so that's kind of the edge back there. And I'm zoomed way in. Zoom out. Once all the harvest hosts are here, Jeff will come down and jump in the baler and get to baling. So this is, like I said, it's thick in some spots, not in others. So this is a single windrow. Corners are like never great either. You always leave quite a bit on the corners. That just comes with it. The cows will come down here, and they do actually spend a surprising amount of time in the hayfields cleaning stuff up. So that's what the single looks like after one pass with the rake. This is what it looks like after I make the second pass around. What do you suppose is living in there? I don't really want to find out. Yeah, all of this still to rake. This is quite a bit of a hill too. Like this part's nice and flat and decently smooth, so that's not so bad right through there, kind of where I'm headed to next. But I'm gonna have to ask Jeff how he cut this, so I make sure I can kind of see how he did cut it, but it gets a little tippy feeling, and so I want to make sure that obviously I'm going about it in the right way so that we don't have any accidents. I don't think it's steep enough that it would actually be a problem, but I just want to make sure that I don't have any problems. Looks like, or sounds like, I just talked to Jeff, it sounds like we have all of our harvest hosts here until like about 7:30 tonight. And so he's gonna come down and bale some. He'll probably catch me. And then I will probably head back and park that harvest hoster, and we always open the farm store so that they can shop and deal with that. And then I have veggie baskets tomorrow, and I actually have like a little bit of things I'd like to do in the garden, just check a few things and stuff, so I'll probably just stay at home. But we'll get a little bit of time with both of us in the field, which will be good. I don't think I'll get this all raked tonight. I know I won't, because it's 5:50 now. So, but if I can rake until about 7:15 or so, that'll be helpful. And then Jeff will, like I said, he might catch me. Maybe not, though. He can bail until dark, and then probably with a few more hours tomorrow down here, this field can get finished up, and then head over to the 80 acres and get started on that. there's dirt devils, we call them dirt devils. I don't know, like little ground tornadoes. I don't know. Very much rearranging my windrows, so that's awesome. There is 2 grass fires in the county that just happened this afternoon. One of them is that direction. You can kind of see how hazy it is. Both of the fires are quite a ways away from me, so as of now, everything is fine. I just got an alert from the Watch Duty app. If you have wildfires in your area, the Watch Duty app is very helpful. We started using it last year when like half the county was on fire, and it is nice to have. But it just one of the subdivisions kind of on the outer edge of Gillette, they have a potential, well, they're supposed to be ready to evacuate. They don't have to evacuate yet, but they have to be ready. The wind is blowing. That never helps with fires, of course. So hopefully our fire department gets that put out shortly. You can see here, this is where the dust devil went through, and you can see how it messed up the windrow. The baler will still be able to grab most of this, but it's just we're definitely gonna have more waste through this section. Not much I can do about that, but yeah, it's all spread out. The wind right now is like 15 to 20, and that's not so much messing with it. It's when we get those little dirt devils that go through that. Look at what it did to my windrow. Just scattered it everywhere, so that's awesome. Love that. There's the summertime water, the windmill, way down there. I just started, well, I'm not at like the very beginning, but I'm kind of close to like where I started raking today, and so I just started another windrow. I'm gonna finish this windrow, so this brand new path, and then again roll it over into the next. I'm gonna finish this windrow and then head back to the ranch for the evening. I don't think Jeff is actually gonna catch me. I'm kind of surprised. Baling when there's not very many bales goes super quick because you don't have to wrap. But when I'm hoping he's making a decent amount of bales, it's not a great year. I'm not going to get a bale an acre. I'm very aware of that. But it seems like he's not catching me as fast as like last year. We both were working in this field last year, kind of similar timing like this, and he did catch up to me faster than I think. And granted, this was a whole year ago, so who knows how much I remember. But I am staying a decent amount ahead of him, and I don't want to leave a ton of it in windrows just in case we do get like a thunderstorm or something that comes through and the dust devils continue and stuff. So it sticks better when it's not in a windrow. Excuse me. So I don't want to leave a ton of it windrowed for the evening just because it blows wind here like all the time. You guys are aware of that. I've shared that multiple times. I will say, like, I raked, I don't think I did the lower portion of this field last year. I do remember doing this part. And like I said, we didn't cut the like very center here that I'm working my way towards because it was short and thin. But I do remember last year having a hard time kind of like seeing where I was at and stuff, because we use a Rouse double sickle mower and not anything that puts it into a windrow when it's cut. Sometimes it can be real difficult on these thin, dry years to see where there's still grass laying on the ground. And other than like some very thin spots, like at the tops of the hill, like I can pretty much tell where I'm at. So that's always nice. We do always leave the last windrow so that you know where you're at and stuff. And so he won't bale the very last one. I'm okay with leaving that much overnight, but gosh, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll have 6 in this section for him, and he may not get it all done before dark, and that's fine. The headlights on the 4055 are not super great. It's probably something I need to work on over the winter, is get some extra light on that, some LED light bars or something, so that some nighttime bailing is a little bit easier. The lights are decent on this. We do have the spear on the front of the tractor now. We had the bucket on, and I was trying to get out of a field, and I couldn't. I got lost. And I just couldn't see anything because of the bucket and the lights. And like, this has overhead lights and stuff too, but I was having a real hard time. And it's easy to get somewhat disoriented. And like, I knew I was heading towards the road, but I was just like, how far away am I? Where am I at? I could not figure it out. So that does happen on occasion out here in the middle of the night. It's real dark back here in the middle of the night. There's cow trails through this field where the cows walk to water or where to go graze and all of that. And if you hit those at full speed, it's real bouncy. So I do try and slow down for those. I wanted to thank everyone who donated to Edible Prairie Project last Wednesday for WyoGives, and thank you everyone who watched the video and had supportive comments. I really, really appreciate it. Our goal was $25,000. We raised just over $30,000, and then the Hughes Charitable Foundation, which is a Wyoming nonprofit, they do an incentive pool, and they match funds. It's $1 million total that they match to nonprofits throughout the state, which is incredible. But it's based upon like a percentage of how much of the total that you raise with the day of donations and stuff. And so we'll find out in about a month or 3 weeks or so how much we get from the Hughes incentive pool. So that's very exciting. I suspect that will be another $5,000 or $6,000. So that all the money we raised will help with our existing programming, like our summer weekend meals for kids and our veggie baskets, and we're going to start building the farm. So I just really wanted to say thank you. It was a very fun video for me to make, just to share that news. This is so rough right here. And then just reading all of your guys' comments and the support and stuff it was very nice. I really am thankful for you guys. So thank you. Whenever the hay yield is low on the ranch, there's always lots of suggestions of things that could be done in order to improve it. And there are definitely some things that could be done, and hopefully some things I will be doing in the future sometime. I don't know when that is going to be. But at the end of the day, we are dryland farming. It's so bouncy here. I'm sorry, guys. This is dryland grass farming. The soil is one of the biggest limiting factors. So I only really on average have about 2 inches of topsoil, and the soil is sandy loam. And so things like cover cropping and stuff would help improve the soil composition. Like, it's only temporary. And so if you go in and you cover crop and you do like a 4-year cover crop rotation plan, and then you put it back into grass, eventually within about 10 years, you're back to sandy loam, and your moisture and your nutrients and everything is just moving back through that soil like it does with sandy loam. And so that's always going to be something. And on this scale, obviously it's very hard to change soil composition. I have changed soil composition in my gardens. It's substantially different than what I started with as native soil. So that's always something to take into consideration. Is soil's kind of your biggest limiting factor or beneficial factor. The other thing is, like, yes, I could plant different grasses. Of course. There is a plethora of different grass varieties that there wasn't a long time ago when a lot of these hayfields were turned into hayfields, or a lot of this is just natural prairie that, because of like the lay of the land and stuff, has been turned into hayfields. And so, yes, at some point I would like to no-till drill into my hayfields to help put some different grass varieties in and some newer grass varieties in, and just a more diverse grass. A majority of the grass in my hayfields is crested wheat. There's some needle grass, there's some brome, and there is some alfalfa. And Gilbert, my stepdad, planted alfalfa, but alfalfa only has about like a 10-year lifespan, and I'm very much like at the end of that. There is still some alfalfa, and it's also not like a great reseeder. And so that's definitely something I want to do, is put some more grass seed in the ground. But we've essentially been in a drought for like the last 10 years, with like some weird years that were like great. Like 2023 was really nice. It had really good hay that year, but like it's risky. It's like grass seed's expensive when you're doing hundreds of acres. I wouldn't do obviously everything. I would start with like one field and see in probably like a field a year. And so I don't have a no-till drill. That is something I am kind of on the lookout for, and maybe I could lease one or something. But it's an expense, and when the forecast is drought and the Farmer's Almanac is drought, it's just hard to spend the money. Now, it's hard to spend money on buying hay too. That's not any fun. I'm most likely gonna probably have to buy some hay this year, but at least if I buy hay, like I have the hay and I know how much I can spend on hay and how many cows I can feed for the winter. And so maybe it was the wrong decision all these years ago to not put seed in the ground, but it has just never felt like it was the right time and that the risk was worth it, the potential risk. And so that's kind of where I'm at with grass and stuff. So hopefully in the next couple of years, the drought cycle will break, although I don't know, and I can start putting some seed in the ground. I will most likely fall seed, and then hopefully the grass will come up in the springtime when the snow melts and have enough spring moisture to get established. Even if it doesn't produce like a huge crop that first year, if it could get established the first year, then generally you're better set up for success in the future. We only ever get like 14 to 16, well, average is 14 to 16 inches of precipitation a year, and that includes our snow melt, and about half of it comes from snow. So liquid rain in the summertime, spring and summer and early fall, we're only about like 7 to 8 inches. Like, it's not very much rain here, and that's why it takes so much acreage out here to raise cows. You know, it takes about 30 acres, 35 acres in this part of Wyoming to raise a cow-calf pair. And it's because of our grass. And yes, there are people that have better grass. There's a tiny amount of irrigation in the county and in northeast Wyoming, like Buffalo and Sheridan have irrigation, but they're right at the base of the mountains. I am the prairie, and there are things that I can do and that I plan to do in order to improve it, but at the end of the day, it is the prairie, and I can't fight against it. I have to work with it. So let's always just keep that in mind. A lot of these windrows kind of up on top of this hill are messed up, so I'm definitely going to be done. I think that is the right decision with the wind the way it is, and that it is 7:25 and we've got dark time approaching. Oh yeah, it's just kind of like creeping the whole thing over, so the rest can wait till tomorrow. If it is just laying flat on the ground, it'll still be here. If it's in a windrow, it may not be. Wheels are up on the rake so that I can go back to the gator, which is a long ways away that way. And I'm gonna head back to the ranch. I let Jeff know that I'm done because of the weather. This feels awful. I don't know that he'll get quite done before dark, but he'll definitely make some progress. But if I just keep adding more work, he'll definitely not get done. Certain parts it's not blowing so bad, but like this one's coming up the hill and then it goes back down, and so like this section's not doing super great. The wind is supposed to go down, but it's obviously not. And now I have to drive into the sun and the dust. It's very bright. So that's it for this part of haying. We're gonna finish this field up probably tomorrow and then still do more. I will probably make at least one more video about haying, and I don't know, we'll see. I was gonna say I'd do a live stream, but like I don't really know how great service is, and I can't really like stop, and I don't know if I could read the comments either. So okay, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me, and I appreciate it as always. I hope you enjoyed haying, and I'll see you next time.
Thank you.